A new report sheds some light for AEW on Max's streaming numbers. How many people are watching AEW Dynamite on Max? We have at least an idea of what that could be. We're also going to talk about a major update on Malakai Black. What's going on with his status? Has he signed with WWE? Will he be able to sign? And the most important question of all, will Malakai Black be at the Royal Rumble? All that much more coming up right here in this video. I am Babyface Omer Q for Real Take Wrestling. Be sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. All right, let's first get into this AEW on Max. One of the biggest questions that people have had about this new situation where AEW is simulcast on both TBS and the Max streaming platform. People want to know, what are the ratings like? What are the ratings for Max like? We know that WWE has released the numbers for Netflix, at least for the first 2 weeks, and they haven't done it so far as I've seen for the third week, and that is to be expected. Traditionally, if there's a big premiere, they want to get these numbers out there. I think the reason why you didn't see this for Max is not only because the viewership number is probably not as glamorous as the WWE one, is also because it happened really like a week before WWE Raw went to Netflix, and that was always going to be a massive number, and it was. You had right around like 5 to 10 million people probably tuning in to that show internationally. So that's a good number for them. It's an amazing number. It is good to see people into professional wrestling. Now, question is, what do we know about the AEW on Max numbers? Well, according to Sean Ross Sapp and company over at FightfulSelect.com, they reported the following. Fightful Select spoke to sources within WBD and confirmed that the official numbers are kept very close to the vest, even within the company. However, they did confirm since debuting, AEW has ranked among the top live sports events on Max. So we don't know the exact numbers, but we do know this, that among the live sports content that is on Max, which really is the bulk and I would say nearly all of the live content in general on Max, it looks like that AEW ranks towards the top of that. And that's a good and healthy sign, because if that wasn't the case, then I think it would be a little bit more of an issue for AEW, more so long term. They just signed this deal. It's not going to be an issue for the next year or so. But the fact that they are among the top live sports content, let me tell you what that means. It means they are like right up there with the NBA. It means that they are right up there with some of the hockey coverage that the Max streaming platform has. And I'm not saying it's the same ratings, but when you're ranking towards the top and you are up against that type of competition, and that's kind of what you're dealing with, it is a healthy sign for AEW. They are not going to be like there is this idea, right? And it happens with WWE too. There is this idea that Raw needs to compete with the NFL or whatever. There's this idea that AEW needs to compete with basketball, whatever it is, right? We need to be well, they're not doing as well as like what other sports entity is, and it completely nukes any realistic and good faith conversation you can have about television ratings, what they mean, and also just in general what the business side of things look at. And like that's why I'm interested in television ratings, to be honest. I care a lot less about the whole tribal, oh my God, X beat X in the key demo. Like it was like lighthearted, fun stuff until it wasn't for a while. And I'm not really interested in doing that. The real key here is like, what does this mean for AEW's popularity as a brand? The fact that people are tuning in, first and foremost, on Max is a very good thing. And it's a very good sign for AEW. And it shows you that there is an audience out there. And I do think that Max, once they do start to promote AEW a little bit more, I think that's going to be a big deal. And AEW, honestly, one of the biggest criticisms I have of them from a business standpoint is they don't promote themselves enough. They've gotten a lot better at it on their television as of late, especially with their live events. And I think some of the looks and feels of their live events recently. If you look at the past couple of Dynamites, whether they were in Cincinnati or Knoxville, they've had some very interesting arenas to work with, and they've made the show feel a lot more lively than it was for the past couple of years, and that's a good sign. And when you present your show in a meaningful and interesting way, it is going to lead to people being more engaged with the product. And when you couple that with good storytelling, which they're on their way to doing, I think, well, for the most part, I think that you're on your way for AEW to regain some of the popularity that you lost over the last couple of years. And they have, right? Because you look at where they were just a couple of years ago, like they were averaging right around like 800,000 to topping out to 1 million just in 2022, as far as ratings for Dynamite overall, live viewership numbers, I should say. They have not reached 1 million in quite some time. I believe the last time they did that was back in 2022, actually, the last time they did that. And it's not just about the million number. I know people like to focus on that as like a talking point. It's this big narrative piece. It matters less. The fact is that they have been significantly dipping over the last couple of years, and it's not at the same rate as people have been cutting the cord. It is not just cord cutting. It is not just a product of that. It is a product of there being, number one, a healthier WWE that is presented better, that people are happier with the product. And that was really one of the big reasons why AEW was able to capitalize on all that momentum, because they were up against a WWE that the fans were sick of, where the booking was hot, stinking garbage, and with a guy who was running it who was out of touch completely with what the modern day fan wanted and what even the casual fans wanted. And it was very evident given some of the backlash that people were giving WWE just a couple of years ago. So AEW right now has a chance to capture some of that momentum back. I think the stuff with Max is good. They need to promote it more, though. They need to do backstage segments where it's like, hey, like, you remember when we did this on Max? Like, you remember when we did this like a couple of years ago? Yeah, here, watch it on Max. Like, there's a storytelling piece that you could do there and add to the show, or even like, dude, have Taz be watching Max like while he's doing like. There's like small marketing stuff you can slip in there, and I know I'm Mr. I hate ads in my thing, but like I don't mind like you plugging your platform. I mind you plugging like Prime or Woo Energy or any of that crap. Don't plug any of that on my wrestling. Anyway, we'll see what happens, though. Healthy sign for AEW there, but we got to move on and talk about our second story of the day. Let's talk about the man, the myth, the legend, Malakai Black. Okay, so everyone wants to know what the hell is going on with Malakai Black. You had a bunch of outlets from Fightful to Dave Meltzer, Wrestling Observer, Newsletter, PW Insider. Everyone has basically said the same thing. Malakai Black is on the outs with AEW if he has not already left. He seems to be done with TV. He is not coming back. They essentially wrote him off with this promo that aired on Dynamite this past week. Either wrote him off or turned him into a dog. I don't know which one. Maybe a little bit of both. The long-term storytelling. Anyway, but Malakai Black seems to be gone in AEW, and the big question is, will he be at the Royal Rumble? Everyone wants to know that. Well, we have an update from PW Insider. Mike Johnson and company report that Malakai Black's deal with AEW does indeed run through February 1st, which of course is the Royal Rumble date, so he will not be at the Rumble. It does not look like Malakai will be there. We do know that he is done with AEW, though. He will not be coming back. That's where it is right now. And people expect him to be a free agent sooner rather than later. It just won't be February 1st, and he will not be in the Royal Rumble match, it seems. However, after the Royal Rumble, you obviously have a couple of big events coming up with Elimination Chamber, WrestleMania, and I think Malakai Black will fit into plans for WWE. There's been reports that Malakai is seen as a top guy in WWE by people very high up in the company. I would be very unsurprised if Triple H was one of those people. He was a big advocate of Malakai when he was in NXT. He obviously booked him to be the world champion or the champion in NXT. So there's obviously that tie. And there is this mystique that Malakai Black has about him. And it's one thing that AEW was never able to capitalize on when he was in that company. He had a mystique about him that made him a believable threat, regardless of how bad he was booked, regardless of how nonsense the storytelling was at times. Outside of any of that, it didn't matter. If you did like a few weeks of storytelling, he could be a believable guy to face the world champion. I genuinely believe that, and I genuinely see that in him. And I think that's what Triple H and company probably see when they look at Malakai Black. They see a guy who has this mystique about him, will probably at the time he joins WWE have so much hype about him that people are going to go nuts. They're going to go back probably to calling him Aleister Black, but honestly, like that's a name that he was over with in WWE in 2021 or 2021. He's going to do the same thing probably then. I just hope he does the little like gimmick where he goes, like, he's Dracula, blah. You remember that, you guys? Maybe you remember. I don't know. Go back and watch Malakai Black's entrance from like 2020 or whatever. It's just like he literally is Nosferatuing his way up there. Anyway, you guys. All right, but Malakai Black not looking like he's gonna be in the Royal Rumble, but expect him in WWE. It would seem. But I want to hear from you guys. What do you guys want to see Malakai Black do when he does return to WWE? What do you think about this AEW Max number thing? Ratings? Do you care? Please don't be nasty in the comments, or be nasty. I guess I don't really care. Let me know in the comment section, though. Be sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Thank you so much to everyone who made it this far in the video. My beard doesn't thank you, because it doesn't exist right now, but give it a couple of weeks. It'll be back. And so will I every single day. Be sure to tune in to the AEW Collision live stream reactions tonight. Wrestling with Omer tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, every Sunday, mostly every Sunday. Mostly every Sunday. And yeah, become a member too. That helps. But also hit that like button. All right. Awkward ending, awkward me, clean face. Until next time, keep it real.